Loading. Welcome to the eye gaze hollow terminal. Please make your selection. You have selected, so we stick needles in you, and send electricity through them. A clinical study.
Okay, occasionally, we amateur videographers make the mistake of not checking our equipment before setting off for a shoot. Back then, we used our GoPro cameras, a 4K Hero 4 Silver, and two GoPro Hero Plus at 1080p. One fixed on me, one fixed on the subjects, and one doing angles and zooms. The saying is, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So, here is another example of just how insane intelligent people can be. I had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to film a clinical study. The study, ultrasound-based detection of fasciculations in healthy and diseased muscles, was a practical examination of the theory that MND/ALS could be diagnosed much quicker, with none of the invasive tests. This could be done in your GP surgery or health center, using equipment they already have and use daily, namely, the common lower-resolution ultrasound. Yes, the very thing that they use to check your baby's in utero status. It's in virtually every practice and in very common use. Even if the study shows that, as a diagnostic tool, it's not working, if it works as a measure of muscle denervation and progression assessment tool, the study will have reduced the pain of patients who have to undergo nerve conduction testing, or EMG, to try to establish if there is muscle atrophy and has it progressed since the last time we stuck a 2-inch needle in your body, 20 different times, and sent electricity through it. So, I arrived, the camera crew are not there. 30 minutes after the study starts, they stroll in. All I can say is, they may as well not have. I am afraid that this is the very best example of garbage in, garbage out. Read above. Once in a lifetime, I paid these videographers good money, and I got this rubbish, and I can never recreate this opportunity again. So, 3 apologies. First, to Dr. Emma Hodson Toll, whose research project this was, and who graciously allowed us to film this session. Also, to Mr. Nicholas Combs, consultant in neurophysiology at Lancaster Teaching Hospitals, and last but not least, Kate Bibbings, the PhD student who put so much work into helping me set this opportunity up. I can't thank you enough for giving me this opportunity, or apologize enough for the absolute pile of rubbish these two numpties have produced. This session took place on February the 8th, 2016. These two videographers took all the footage home with them, looked at what they had done 2 months later, and left on an 18-month world tour, leaving all my footage at home and hidden from view. Given what we knew about MND then, 18 months may well have seen me pushing up the daisies, and nobody would have known that this had happened. So late in 2017, when they returned to these shores, I was finally able to make contact. After several excuses as to why they hadn't uploaded the footage to the cloud account, and then delays, and after some threats on my part, they finally found the lost hard drive and duly sent me this footage. It came along with some irreplaceable interviews I had done with some of the most eminent research professionals involved in MND research, which were of even worse quality. Those who have read what I do, and how I do it, know I use my Tobii i15 eye gaze to do all my editing. Not easy, but things that are worth doing rarely are. I have done what I can with the raw footage I have. Some might say raw sewage. They could be right. Excuses done, you work with what you have, and this is what I had. So, did the study provide anything conclusive? I believe that, based on what I saw, there is definitely something worth pursuing further. It may not ever progress to be a diagnostic tool, but it is definitely better, clearer, more informative and far less painful and stressful for the patient than using the EMG, something better suited to an episode of 50 Shades. It's a very dry and unfortunately, not that informative, and sorry about the moops, had to be done. Let me know what you think.
That's great. Yeah, so basically that's the needle there as you had before.
Yep.
That's the screen there. and what I'm going to do is pop an earth on, that'll go onto the skin, and that basically just gives a good background, cuts out your background interference, and then we're ready to roll. And what we're going to do is today, we're not going to look at so many muscles as we had before, we're going to look...
whatever you need to do is absolutely fine by me.
That's great. Normally for diagnosis, we aim to get EMG abnormalities in 3 out of 4 body segments. One segment being the legs, one segment being the arms, one segment being the thorax stroke abdomen, and the other one being the cranial segment. I've got a bit of a quick fix today because luckily the cranial segment, trapezius here, actually comes off actually comes off a cranial nerve. So rather than stick a needle around the face area, we can actually just get away with looking at a muscle up here. Brilliant. Any particular weak areas?
The area that's weakest at the moment is my diaphragm.
Right.
Other than that, we're good to go. I mean, the hands don't work, I can't make fists, but that's been the case for months now. So, but the actual weakest area now is my diaphragm. Right,
which we won't be going near, but we're going to look on the back of your legs here on the gastrocnemius. Look on your rectus femoris, so we've done the upper and lower in the leg. Then we'll look up at your upper deltoid biceps, or sorry, body biceps, and look up thoracic muscle, depending on how we go with trapezius, and also if your tummy's okay, we won't do the diaphragm, but we'll actually do one of the abdominal muscles as well.
If we do the diaphragm, I'll sit fully up.
That will be fine. Cool. We'll give that a miss, It's not one of the ones that's standardly tested for in Britain, largely because so many other muscles are accessible.
Yes, that makes sense actually,
because it's hard to go into the diaphragm, and also so many other structures nearby that you really don't want to cause any trouble.
Quite,
And our rules are sort of physician cause no harm, so always keep things.
We are still using standard ultrasound for diaphragmatic examination to try and establish percentage use of each side of the diaphragm now. So it's...
I think the ultrasound's what the problem is. I think it's mainly the EMG needles the problem. Right. Well, one of the research group, Pete, isn't he looking at the diaphragm at the moment? Because Pete, we've got another chap who's actually looking at the diaphragm.
That's the Manchester side of things.
That's right, That's right,
Cool.
But Pete, it's a shame I missed Pete because he's a nice chap and he's very much part of the team as well.
That's good.
Escaped to Manchester now.
I was going to say, isn't this picture on the Manchester website?
I think so,
Yeah, I think of...
What we're going to do first, we're going to pop a pill onto your leg.
Okay.
We're going to need to look at the gastrocnemius. We're going to need to. So we're going to rest your leg like that. And try and get this muscle here.
Right.
But we don't want to die hypothermia at the same time. So if I pop that there, I can move this up your tummy a bit. There you go. Are you warm enough now with the heating for the room?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, that's good. If you get too cold, let us know, and also if the needles get too much, let us know as well. So for the first of all, we're going to. That's great. We'll pop a needle. Back of your leg there. Are you allergic to plasters at all?
Nope.
That's brilliant. That's great. Reserve. And we'll pop this little pad on your arm. And that's great. And then. So have you lived in Fleetwood all your life or for a long time?
No, just about 5 years now.
Where are you from initially?
Kind of all over the world, if I'm honest. Started life in Derbyshire, Milton Keynes, and then everywhere else in the world. But and then back to. I'm not going to look. I'm not.
That's right. No, if you push and point your toes down. 3, 2, 1, go. Push hard. You okay?
Yeah.
That's great. If you look at the screen there, that's your muscle contracting. Very floppy now, bring it up. What we're going to try and do now is to get your leg as silent as we can. I'm just going to move that. There you go.
Don't know very well nothing about me silent.
And there we go. So nice floppy leg. You bring your leg up just a bit. And there we go. And nice and relaxed. That little click there, that's the muscle, that's one voluntary unit. And there we go, that's nice and silent now. So if you push your toe down, bring your foot up first, and that's what your muscle looks like when it's contracting. So nice and floppy. So now it's nice and quiet. Bring your foot up just a bit. Now point your toes towards you. That's great. So a little. And that's great. What I'm going to try and do now, if you hear a large thud, that will be for circulation. Right. So I'm going to just gently tap the muscle now. That's great. And that sometimes aggravates the muscle. So we work it first of all, then we get to relax. That's great. So you were from Fleetwood initially?
No, I was from a place called Gloucester, just on the end of the A57.
Yeah. I live in Charlesworth.
You really do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in near Bolton.
Yeah.
A place called Daisy Hill.
Yeah.
And moved to Hadfield when I was been very fortunate. I've seen thousands of concerts worldwide.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest artists in the world.
Gosh. Very lucky.
Yeah, very, very, very lucky.
Well, yeah.
I've said to many people, when I first got diagnosed, once you get over the devastation, you think, actually, you know what, I've had a really good life.
Yeah.
And this is just another phase to it. Hence why I said, well, actually, this would be quite fun to do. It's another thing that I would never have thought of doing before I was diagnosed.
Yes.
So I'm not going to say it's fun, but it's interesting and entertaining and all the things that you really shouldn't find medical procedures interesting and entertaining.
No. I know you, but we have to become involved. I always think it's better to take ownership by understanding as opposed to just being passive.
Exactly, and it's helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from not only knowing what's happening to my body, when it's likely to happen, I can put in place plans for dealing with that. Instead of suddenly finding, actually, I can't do that anymore, what do I do now? And not being able to do the research either. So finding out beforehand, putting in place a plan, letting all my medical professionals know what that plan is. I mean, we were talking about a peg or a rigging, I guess. And I came up with a plan for doing it. Can't eat for 3 out of any 7-day period because I'm too tired. Even if I'm hungry. That's when they book me in for to have my rig fitted. And here they can do that within 7 to 10 days.
Gosh, that's good.
Very good. So you kind of, once you have an understanding, you're more involved. Oh, I felt that.
No, this will pick up the one direct from the back of your leg. There, that's one there. That's one there. They're rare, but when they come, they're good. You can hear them.
Now, where you will get really good ones is in my left arm one. It's playing a tune all of its own.
There's one, 2 there.
But this helps because understanding what the articulations are all about helps you, or helps me, not run the muscles down beyond the point at which they can't recover. Finding that fine line between atrophy through lack of use and atrophy through muscle test. And finding that fine line, I think is part of the reason why I'm still walking.
That's good, isn't it?
But not everybody feels comfortable doing that.
Look, that's why you're not relaxed or orthopedic so there you go. You can see that quite nice. I'm just going to move that just a bit so I can catch up with them. What I'll do is I'll try and catch one of these and I can actually bring up on the screen. The thing is, they're quite rare and sporadic, and it'll be sod to all that they'll literally come. The minute you take
Of course.
But they just came in clusters. You had one bit of boom, 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 boom. So they stopped. There you go. Probably a bit. They're a bit distant, but what it is, the needle's got a small recording area. The ultrasound records from a bigger area. Yeah, that's exactly so. Because this is what we find: the ultrasound actually picks up more than the needle.
Well, it's funny you say that because where they're ultrasounding, that's north of the needle.
There he does.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's north of the needle. I can feel more happening than I can see happening.
Yeah.
But now we seem to be getting a lot more of them.
Yeah, and they do that. They'll wax and wane.
Yeah.
Okay. What I can do read. So what I'll do is I'll show you. Okay. Yeah. Now if I just put that there, that's the fasciculation there.
Yeah.
And then if I now put that one to about there. There you go, that's a good one there.
Oh yeah.
So you can see you got nothing, and then suddenly that to be fair, that there might just be a background voluntary activity. It might just be a bit of, but that's quite clear fasciculation, and that's what we're looking for.
Now, just for my guys, for the camera work.
Yeah.
Fasciculation is the muscle trying to recommunicate with the central nervous system, the motor neuron, to try and re-establish signal. That part of the muscle has lost connection with the central nervous system.
That's right.
And all it's saying is, hello, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Exactly, yeah. And you may also pick up some other little things like fibrillation and positive sharp waves.
Yeah.
But they're the same.
Right.
But
now, they're less about the muscle communicating with the nervous system and more about the muscle communicating with the spinal cord, yes?
Yeah. But also they're also a good sign. All those are evidence of active denervation. In fact, I'm just going to put that on there so you might pick up some more signals we can.
It's an inverted graph though, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got none taking place, that's a good thing. If you've got loads, that's a good thing because the muscle is still trying. But when you drop below that baseline again, on the way back down the inverted curve, that's when there's no muscle left to do it.
Okay, I finished. Okay, yeah. And that's the problem, is that from our point of view, if we can get a lot of them, it helps our diagnosis. We don't pick up many, and that's where you're in the very grey area. Because if someone's actually quite poorly, a lot of the situations, put the needle in, if you don't pick any up at that moment in time, it doesn't help our diagnosis at all. And you can see there, we've had one bit, we've had a cluster of fasciculations, and nothing now. I think that's one there. And they seem to come in clusters. You get nothing, and suddenly bang, bang, bang. And if we get a more active spot, which may not be in this muscle, you'll then appreciate the random nature, because what you'll see is that when you contract your muscle at this far irregular rate, when you see fasciculation, you go boom, 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 boom. We need to catch some of those to do it. At the moment, they've just been individual ones. There we go. Just like that from this. Okay. And that's actually online in real time. Okay, there's one there.
That was a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. But again, they're just, it's just saying, they're individual fasciculations rather than groups of them.
Now, how does that show up on... Don't interrupt what you're doing, but...
That's done.
Yeah, okay, don't take me to that now.
Put it back on and we can have a look.
Yeah. That's great, that's a vulgar noise producer.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done, Keith.
That's really good, really well done. Yeah.
So what you're looking for in the images are essentially kind of like local disturbances which occur now. We had a few occurring just up here before.
Now that's...
So at the moment, so this is the skin at the top here, and then we're beaming through into the muscle,
right, so
and this through here.
That first stripe,
across here.
that's the skin. The second one, that's about as deep as the needle probe goes, yes?
So the needle would have been between these two boundaries.
I see, yeah.
Okay, because these are essentially the elastic material that surrounds the muscle.
I'm with you.
And then these stripes through here are the muscle fibers. Oh, did you see that kind of
did,
there?
yes.
That's what we're looking for.
Right, okay.
So that was probably a
Now
fasciculation.
I would call that a micro one because I didn't feel it, but I saw it.
Yeah. So, and that's the amazing, yes,
There you go,
again,
another
yeah. So it's a very local disturbance in the tissue
There's one
that
coming,
we're
I
looking
can feel
for.
There we go.
So yeah, and so that was deeper. So this down
Yeah.
here, so below this boundary, we're looking deeper into another muscle. So this is the soleus muscle,
Now
which lies
that's the one
underneath.
actually connected to the bone, at the bottom.
So they both connect to the Achilles tendon at the ankle joint.
I see.
But the gastrocnemius, of which this is one portion of it, lies essentially at the surface of the skin,
I see.
and then the soleus lies underneath it. So you have layers of muscle that go back to the bone. Yeah, so now Kate's just altering the position of the probe, so rather than looking along the muscle, we're now essentially doing a cross-section through it. So you can now make out here, there's a kind of two wings, if you like, on this side. So that's the medial and the lateral, so each side of the gastrocnemius, and then underneath here is the soleus muscle.
I see.
So, and then they both go down and attach to the
So that
Achilles.
right at the bottom right hand corner.
Down here?
Yeah, what's that?
That will be part of the soleus muscle.
I see. Now why does that appear to be denser than the other?
It will be to do with the distribution of the different tissues that are in there, so things like the muscle fibres, but also fatty tissue that spreads within
Scar
there.
tissue?
Scar tissue, yeah, so things like collagen and fibrosis and things like that. And they all affect how the ultrasound echoes are reflected back, which then determines the brightness that we see within the image.
Now the fact that we're doing this leg is, I've got quite a lot of varicose veins. They don't really show up at all on there, do they?
They do actually.
Do they?
When Kate had it in the longitudinal position. See this coming through here, this kind of darker area here, so that will be going through a vein or an artery in that region. You can see tracking through here.
I see.
Yeah.
And
so
there's
the
a little
features
branch
are quite
there as well.
different. Yeah.
I see.
Right, so what do we want to do now? The flank or the...
We're going to look at your rectus femoris muscle now. So basically this is the one that straightens your leg out like this. So what I'm going to do initially to find where the muscle is, I'm going to ask you to tense your leg out as though you're lifting it straight from the knee, so straight into the knee. Once we're in, we'll pick up the motor activity. Once we know we're in there, we'll then get you to go and relax as floppy as possible. What I'm doing is, particularly with muscles like rectus and gastroc, we're getting you to find where the muscle is, looking at the motor unit activity, just to establish we're in the muscle. And once we're there, it's nice and floppy. We're just literally looking for the resting or spontaneous activity after that. Straighten out as best you can, 3 to 1 grade. You okay with that?
Yep.
Well done, absolutely straight. Tense up, straighten up a bit more. Tense up hard. Move the knee just a bit. Tense up high. There we go. And that's the motion activity there. And that's your contracting muscle. So we'll go very floppy for us now. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well done.
It's that's uncomfortable to actually tense that leg out like that.
If I look now, if you straight, make your leg go floppy, I'll stop it now. Is that okay now?
Yep, that's fine.
Well, you okay? Well done. And we'll go very relaxed. Nice and relaxed.
Hey baby, please! No, don't stretch it, you're alright.
I'll imagine
Little bit would never hurt anybody. So, you've had a chance to look through this information already? Have you?
I think is this the video with the EMG and the mutual inflammation?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Has anything that you've seen surprised you?
It's very reassuring that everything matches up as neatly as it does. And we're in a really lucky position at the minute in the sense that you see the evidence, the data, you can see what's happening in those ultrasound videos, and so you've got a really clear map of what you expect the results to be like, because you can see that. And I think that will be the more difficult element when we start getting to the fibrillations data, is if we can't see something by the human eye, but the algorithms are saying something's happening, if the algorithms say something happening and we don't have a ground truth that says yes, there is something happening, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
We get different information at times from the EMG and from observing the ultrasound, so it's...
Is there an element there, and this I guess is your involvement, that kind of looking at it in reverse, in that we've got all of this evidence, visual, and the algorithm is saying you should be seeing this. Therefore, once you move beyond what you can see, if you've proofed the algorithm works properly, then whatever the algorithm says that it's seeing, therefore doesn't that become ipso facto?
That would be the ideal situation, but we're not at a point where these algorithms are performing with 100% accuracy.
I see.
We're
Right.
kind of around 86%, 87%. So that's high,
Yeah.
but it's not 100%. And equally, it depends, actually not that much, but to some extent as to what we're comparing it against. So in the early work that I did with Pete Harding, we assessed those videos and said there's a twitch happening here, there's a twitch happening here, and then matched that against what the algorithm saw.
Yep.
In the work that Kate's doing, she's going the next step and actually using the clinical signal, which is the EMG data,
Yep.
and matching that against it. And actually you do get slightly different things, don't you? Because the EMG is actually telling us about the potentials which are happening in the muscle, those electrical potentials, which is different to the ultrasound data.
Which is giving you an on the second demonstration of what the muscle's fibre is doing.
Yeah, it's a different signal. So the first work, we essentially took the same data and we said manual observers say this, the algorithms say that, but it's based on and analysing the same images.
I see.
Whereas
Yeah.
Kate's taking one signal and saying, well, this is telling me this is happening, and she's taking a second signal and saying, well, actually, how well do those two signals match up?
And at the moment you're in the high 80s. Is that what you've expected when, because you wrote this algorithm, didn't you?
Well, we've got a couple to like compare at the moment. So the best ones are coming out in about the high 80s.
Was that what you expected?
Around about, because we knew that neither of them are going to be perfect, because EMG is not perfect at the same time that the algorithm. So you're never going to get 100% match because you're measuring slightly different things as well.
Right, of course, yeah. What would be, given that you're not going to get 100%, at what point would you be dancing on the ceiling? Anything in the higher 80s, lower 90s?
I think mid to high 80s is good, and I think I wouldn't expect any more than kind of 90s something.
Really?
Early 90s, but I don't think you'd be able to get any more than that just because of the difference between
Is
the EMG and the...
Is the algorithm responsible for that, or is that something else involved in that?
I think it's to do with the matching between the two.
I see.
For one thing, the EMG is electrophysiological, whereas what's going on in the ultrasound is the actual mechanical movement. So the different things for one thing, but also with the ultrasound, you've got lots of different movements going on. So you've got the movements in the superficial muscles and then the deep muscles, which the EMG can't get to, and then you've got kind of the skin and the apneurosis, which it'll detect the movement of those, and then you've got the probe.
You get an interference down the...
You can see as you get...
So there's a difference, because it might be that the ultrasound sees a twitch, but that twitch, and it's correct, the twitch has happened, but the twitch isn't recorded in the EMG data. So it's not seen in the EMG data. But at the moment we're using that EMG as our ground truth.
I see.
To help us. So some of that loss, if you say a loss of performance or reduced performance, it might be that the ultrasound is, say, identifying 92%.
In fact, you probably can hear yourself fasciculating along a little bit
I
now.
can, yeah.
Yeah.
Now is this, one of the things I tend to do is use muscles inappropriately now.
Yeah.
I
That's
use
what you
my thigh
coactivate, yeah.
muscles to get me into a comfortable breathing
It's
position.
very common to co-activate muscles. In the same, if you injure your shoulder, if you can't use one muscle, often we've got groups of several
Yeah.
muscles.
Yeah,
You know, you'll get several to do the job that one would otherwise do.
yes, yeah.
Is that? Sorry,
We're done.
these ladies, yeah. That's right, and that's exactly right. So it's very common. I mean, we notice that particularly with people with shoulder injuries, that once you've injured a shoulder, I'll try and examine muscles around the shoulder, so you can keep this one still, and people can't because they're so trained
Yeah.
other muscles to move in.
Well, that's what if I'm stood up, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Because I'm now using my core muscles,
Hmm.
particularly intercostal muscles, to actually get myself in a comfortable breathing position.
And that's why when we're actually looking at the trapezius, it may be technically difficult because it may well be if you're using that as an accessory muscle.
Yeah.
Because often what happens if your diaphragm's not behaving is you're probably aware you use a whole other muscles as well,
Yeah.
intercostals, and in addition to that trapezius
Yeah.
as well. So I think
See, I can feel that muscle go in.
Hmm. Yeah.
Can you focus in just down there? Can you see the movement taking place
yeah,
there?
there's
Yeah.
one there.
Yeah.
That's-
Now I know when this is going to start to happen. You begin to recognise the signs.
Really?
Yeah.
Normally it's just after taking the needle out.
Yeah.
Right, so that's your legs finished. I'll pop that over there. So I decide to throw televisions out the windows. So to start from really small, you're facilitating away like mad now. In fact, okay.
That
3, 2, 1, go, and there we go. You okay? There you go.
yeah, we might struggle to get this one to slow down enough.
Yeah, it's misbehaving big start.
Yeah.
You can hear it. There you go.
Wow, these are all over the place.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Now if I bring that one out. I wonder if I think we might have actually filled the thing up. No. Okay, what if I do this? Yeah, leave this on now. You can see it from there. You can see. Just look at that.
Wow, pretty
Yeah.
colours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
That's exactly how it feels as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're. You can see that. That's probably the best display there, actually, isn't it?
I don't know if that reflects what we really think.
What? This.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not so. Okay,
Is there too much going on there for your...
Yeah, sometimes we've noticed that some of the setting changes on here
Okay.
because we're reading the data out of the back of that machine.
okay. I think to be fair,
So it can just influence it.
is that okay now?
Yeah.
That's those like faster prime pan. Those are fibrillations and positive sharp waves. Those little, you hear that little fluffy
Yeah,
chop noise?
yeah.
Yeah. You might get a few more of it, but
Should we get some ultrasound glasses?
Yeah. you know. The other thing I notice is that it's a lot, although it's actually facilitating away, you notice how that one particular area is actually settled down now?
Yeah.
And that's what it does often.
And yeah, I can still feel it going
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Yeah. There you go, some more now. Yeah. I'm not getting many at all now.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's like the roof of a rave, that is.
So bend your arm just a bit again. Bend your arm again. That's good. So we're definitely the right spot, it's just that I decided not to fire off much at that moment. So nice and relaxed. And also, to be fair, sometimes that relaxing muscular intensity will actually cause these to come back again.
The thing is, we can see more on the muscle than is actually occurring there. So is that likely to be from further up? Or is that just...
No, it's just because I think the needle's got such a small recording area.
I see.
Whereas the ultrasound, if you look how long that is, that's actually looking at several centimetres, whereas this is literally looking at the area near to where the needle is. And literally look, if the needle tips, literally sort of
looking for a couple of mil around the needle.
Exactly, yeah.
So this actually is more... This gives us a far greater picture of the muscle angle.
Yes, it does, yeah. That's right.
Right, well, I'm going to look over here because there's more happening.
Yeah.
Wow.
Quite captivated by black and white pictures.
Do they do a colour one of these yet?
So you can get colour ones which are Doppler, which are looking at something slightly different. So that tends to be
I'm
used
actually
for
tempted to
things
try and
like,
change the recording site for this one now,
the,
okay.
the flow.
I'm just going to move that. I'm just going to. What I'm going to do is, because initially I had a lot, but it's because it's not misbehaving now. I'm actually going to change the site of the needle, see if we get a slightly more active site. You can see when we first started, it was really, really active, and then suddenly that.
The most active I can feel is around here.
Okay, I'm going to go more for that area then. Right. But what I'm going to do also is I'm going to try and just get to bend your arm first of all. So bend up. I'm just going to pop that in there. That's what it'll make the muscle work. Make it 3, 2, 1, go, and there we go. That's
Should
great.
have looked at that.
Bend hard. Nice and relaxed. There we go. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Should we get the deal?
Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's brilliant. From our point of view, it's... You okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm just straighten that last one. That's a brilliant recording from you've got a nice relaxed arm, but you can see how it's absolutely circulating away.
I can actually feel
Yeah.
a lot going on in there.
Could you feel, is that time locked to what you're seeing on screen as well?
So you can see if you look on the ultrasound, a lot of those threads coincide over the movement.
That noise there, those are some fibrillation, lots of sharp waves there. Nice one. That noise at fast and trying now. You okay with that? Nice and relaxed. Support arm. Okay.
All the twitches that happen, but it's agreement with the EMG as a ground truth.
There are artifacts that are not showing in both devices.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're reliant at the moment.
So actually 86 is pretty spanking. That's well.
That's good, yeah, it's very good.
So when I keep saying you wrote this algorithm, how much of this algorithm did you write? How much was written by others?
We've got the KLT, which is what Emma and Pete used initially. So basically you put a bunch of features on top of the image and then track where those features move to.
Right.
And from that you can get an idea of what's moving where. Then the next thing that I did was use a slightly different method of optical flow, which is kind of the basis of the KLT, so the movement between images, but uses a slightly different method to do with smoothness over the entire image.
Anywhere on camera.
So basically it's instilled into became second nature. Yeah. Those are positive sharp waves there. Those, so what I did, just put that there. Those down deflections. Are you okay with that?
Oh yeah.
Those down deflections, those are positive sharp waves there. So you've got a combination of circulations and positive sharp waves. Sorry to put across you. So
That's all right.
so it's, okay. Have you finished with this one now?
Cross-sectional.
Okay. So I'll pop tails now. So basically, you've got to be very. Sorry.
Yeah, if you want to get a picture of this, that is the best example of a fasciculation. What's happening? That's not me. That's the muscle. That's that muscle trying to communicate with my brain, saying, "Send me information."
Look at it, it's just twitching away.
Good. Excellent.
Okay, yeah, it's very good actually, isn't it? And also those were very good positive sharp waves earlier on.
Yeah.
But as you can see, Sod's Law, you can see it waxes and wanes how...
There we go.
Brilliant. Yeah,
It's recording.
that's great. And nice relax your arm again.
Ooh, look at that. Right, yeah.
They give quite similar results because they're both looking at just the movement.
I see.
And then I've used something which is called foreground detection using Gaussian mixture models, which is the one that's given us quite high results at the moment.
Right, now that's been used significantly before, hasn't it?
I'm not sure, I hope not.
Really?
Not for this type of.
No, but
It
I've heard of this before.
It
Yeah.
tends to be used for like crowds and
Yeah.
car traffic.
Yeah.
Security
Yeah.
cameras.
That's, yeah, they actually used that in the Tokyo traffic signal algorithm
Yeah.
to control traffic flow through Tokyo. So,
Yeah, explain a little.
right, where do we want that?
Trapezius now, this is one of your cranial muscles. This is a bit of a quick fix we have because the only thing I said before, the trouble we have is if you're using it as part of respiration,
Yeah.
then you might pick up some voluntary muscle there as well. What I'm going to try and do first of all, again, is I'm going to get to shrug your shoulders so we can pick the muscle up. And that's great. Yeah, nice trapezius there. That's brilliant. So, yeah, but it was. I mean, I think was it. Pauline was saying. I think the whole of the MND team touched.
Yes, they
Yeah,
did, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And the entire research staff at Cytron.
A bit more how that one works.
Yeah.
Just in terms of that sort of basic.
It just kind of it has a bit. It's able to select what it thinks is interesting if layman's terms sort of
Yeah.
thing. So if
Hook your shoulder up. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and go. And that's great. You okay with that?
Yeah.
That's great. We've got a nice signal there. Shoulder down. Right down. Right down again. And there we go. That's great. You go for like that. Okay, drop your shoulder right down. Okay, look. And your shoulder down a bit more. Drop your shoulder down.
That's as low as it goes, I'm afraid.
What we'll do to help us do that, we've got hand on your tummy. There you go. And that's great. That's a bit of a quick fix. Often that just takes some of the weight off your shoulder. That's great. And that's your shoulder fasciculating away now. Yep, I'm ready, yeah. Whenever Kate's ready. Okay, so. Right. Drop your shoulder down again now. Drop your shoulder down again. And that's great. You okay? And your breathing's okay? Nice. Your shoulder okay like that? And your arm good for you? Nice, nice.
Okay, that's one.
something, if you kind of describe it to a person, as a person, if something doesn't kind of catch its eye, it'll resign it to the background. But if something's different or unusual, it'll say that's something interesting, and that's.
The estimating engineers for the.
Yeah. Was that the stage where they had the concrete cows, or?
Yeah, and they were.
I've seen those. They're quite.
They were a bit of fun.
Yeah.
That kind of took on a life of their own.
Yeah. And then they've had because you've got the old parts like Stony Stratford, haven't you?
That's right. Yes, Stony Stratford and Bletchley Middleton.
Yeah.
Which was the original Milton Keynes village.
Yeah. Was it Middleton? Yeah. Yeah. I've been to Bletchley Park.
Oh yeah.
I was lucky enough to go there. Lots of the originals are still alive at that stage.
Oh really?
Yeah. And they're actually showing people around.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
I would want to have done that.
Yeah. It's quite remarkable. The guys, they're very old, they're sharp up. Really.
Well, when you think about what they used to do, it's no wonder really.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything we've had at Milton Keynes, because the roundabouts, unless you're a local, it's really hard to know your way around.
Even if you were a local.
Yeah. I mean, sat nav now, it's fine, but actually, it's the east to the west, and I can't remember all the different things.
Yeah, no, it wasn't designed to be half finished.
No.
And that was the problem is,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to stop talking when I'm set up.
No, it's okay. You're a bit short of breath.
Yeah, I can't really talk and sit.
No. Yeah, you're doing really well. We're not much longer today.
You're fine.
Oh, that's great. Well done. Thank you.
We have to do the other view.
Okay. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll give you a bit of a breathing out. We'll use that once more. No. That's great. And then last time for this one, how many more runs have we got to see from this angle? Three more.
That's alright.
Yeah.
Give us a shout whenever you need us to stop.
No, I'm absolutely fine.
Okay, well,
I'm going to stop talking though, because I can't sit up
Well,
and
we
talk
as
at
we
the
can,
same
then.
time.
No. You're doing
Can
well.
you get in there?
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, so shrug the shoulders up again. 3, 2, 1, go. Nice on the shoulders. Really good. The fact you can hear that noise now, that fatty frying pan. Can you do me a favour, Kate, and just press where it says save there? I've just got Kate to save a couple of those so we can show you when you look around the other way. Oh, good. Yeah. That's a lovely black shoulder there. Shoulders lovely relaxed there. You okay? Nice researcher, he used to love Land Rovers and building work. And he used to find his best ones, the best search components were the ex-military ones. He said, because if you get, there's a place up in Yorkshire, so you can get a whole package engine never used. He said, so when he needs a new one, he took one and dropped it in.
That's right.
But I think he said they were 2.2 litre petrol, I think.
Yeah.
There were no diesels.
You couldn't use petrol. You couldn't use diesel.
Really? What's that? Oh, because of petrol?
Yeah.
Well, I presume with the American vehicles, they were petrol, got it, yeah. Oh, that explains the one, doesn't it? I won't bother with the petrol. Well, it's still so you've got powerful vehicles on.
They are.
Yeah, that's right, that's what he said. Well, yeah, I think he said they're completely brand new engines boxed up.
Yeah. They were always been shipped into the country.
Yeah. I think the other thing he said was there are lots of little outlets, rather than put all the Land Rovers in one place. They sort of pop around lots of little.
That's right. Yeah.
I think he said. So I think it was the case one. I think you're saying that it's enough to make a hole in the market. I think there's something like sort of 5,000 Land Rover engines on the end market. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, I think my friend who got his ex-army lad who worked from somewhere in the West Midlands. There's another place somewhere down the West Midlands.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've been to that one. That's, it's actually run by Scania.
Is it?
Yeah. Or it was.
Yeah.
Very interesting depot, that is.
Gosh.
It's from like freezing,
Yeah.
like
I saw it,
intenses,
yeah.
yoga.
Oh gosh, it's as big a concern as Scania, so it's not just like...
Well, I think somebody needed to run the depot, the MOD didn't want to.
Yeah.
And I think Scania took over it.
Yeah.
Certainly for a small period of time. Whether they stayed running it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I suppose you need quite a big concern to have the money to take that amount of stock, wouldn't you? Because
Exactly,
a small individual wouldn't be able to afford that.
yeah.
We've got two more muscles going now. One's your thoracic paraspinal muscle, which is roughly about this level here.
Yeah.
Basically follow a line from your nipple up to here. And the reason why I like this muscle is because if in your course of your day-to-day duties, you know, like if any one of us can put our neck muscle out or put a back muscle out,
Yeah.
but obviously the thorax acts in the same way as an insect acts as a protective thing. So it's very hard to actually put a disc out in the thoracic region. So for that reason, I quite like T5. Another reason why I like T5 is it follows the line of your nipple, so just literally go around there, and I'll go roughly about here.
Yeah.
For this one now, to try and relax your muscle as best you can, we'll get you to lean forwards just like you are now, and then but we'll wait till Kate comes back. Then when we ask you to identify the muscle, we'll just get you to try and straighten your back up just a little bit as best you can, and then just lean over and go floppy and forwards.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing I saw him do was pour a load of some kind of flour into the radiator. And I thought, that ain't going to work.
What was antifreeze or?
No, to plug a hole.
Oh gosh, of course you can sort of circulate, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very clever. Okay, if you bend over again and touch your toes, needle going now.
Touch my toe, I wouldn't need
No,
that.
that's right. 3, 2, 1. I bet you could when you're a youngster though. 3, 2, 1, go. And there we go. Okay. Straighten your back up for us now. Perfect. And now bend over towards your toes, and that's great. Okay, you can hear those noises there, they're across the sharp ways and fibs again.
I can hear that.
Yeah. There's fasciculations there as well.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just going to change the menu because unfortunately my falls. But that's great, that was some good. T5, we're back in business now. So we're in exactly the right spot. And that's your fasciculation there. So you can hear everything there. That little clicking noise is a fibrillation. Right. And there's a circulation there coming in occasion as well. That pump.
Yeah.
Another circulation there. Another one there. You can probably hear the studs going on there. They get lots of circulations there. When you hear that noise like fast on a frying pan, those are positive sharp waves.
Yeah.
And they're things that are probably, although some people say they're perceptible, they're not typically perceptible on an ultrasound. So that's the next thing, is to see whether with a higher definition ultrasound you can actually home in on these fibrillations and positive sharp waves as well.
So what we actually record here is at, would you say 60 frames a second?
About 80.
At 80. Can this be enhanced? Or is the maximum data resolution what's been recorded?
It is possible to go higher, but it depends. There's a trade-off between some of the features in the image and the frame rate at which we capture.
You have got a
So
high
there's a
frame rate
relationship.
machine, haven't you, for what the conventional clinical rig?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the idea you there, but that you wouldn't have to tweak too much of what's.
Exactly, yeah, this is, sorry. Any mother and baby unit's already got one of these.
Yeah.
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 Well, and across all sorts of, it's really quite standard to scan all sorts of organs.
Of course,
and
Gall bladders, livers, kidneys.
kidney,
So,
skeletal injuries.
could this be linked into MRI and the other one?
I think the difficulty with MRI is that you've got to be still for about 30 minutes. So to actually time lock it, because what we're doing at the moment is we're literally,
Of course.
because what we're doing with this is absolutely time locking.
Yeah, we need, so the MRI essentially gives you an overall view of a period of time, and it doesn't capture the dynamic changes,
I see.
which is the beauty of the ultrasound, is that it's got the time resolution.
So that's the
frame
same with the
rate is
cat,
really
with the cat as well,
important.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So ultrasound is the only imaging modality that really gives us that
I see.
resolution for these sorts of...
I'm never tired of telling people that. This is the place I need to send all the other MND units to learn what excellence looks like.
Tell the girls that you said that.
Oh, it's on the vlog, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If it wasn't before, it is now.
You finished now?
2 more, if that's alright.
Yeah.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, yeah.
You really are. It's interesting, if the circulation level just dropped off now. You notice that?
Yeah, I can't hear them anymore.
Those got some positive sharp waves there. All I did was just literally move the millimetre or two, because sometimes it's taking position. We'll bring out activity again. Got fibrillation. I've kept a few from earlier. Okay. That's a complex compressive discharge there.
So what's causing that?
Again, that's denervated muscle.
Right.
the sort of diaphragm is.
Place for them now
Yeah.
is India.
Yeah.
Apparently in
Because they've got legislation to.
yeah, their children to stay with what they work.
Yeah.
And they reckon in Dubai,
Yeah.
there's nobody living.
Really? So they're at the top of the world for two-stroke. You don't see any two-stroke cars, well, in fact, you don't see any two-stroke cars, but two-stroke motorbikes are a lot better in terms of performance.
Oh yes, and a lot easier to maintain.
Yeah. Roughly about there.
Okay.
But what we'll do is we can get your tension coming up first. We'll just see feel the muscles. So if you tense forward for us and lean as best you can, and that's great. Well done. Okay, you can feel a nice tense muscle there. 3, 2, 1, go. We're listening to the muscle now. You okay? And tense hard. Lean forward again. And then nice forward first. And there we go. And that's in the muscle. You okay? So if you, perhaps we just do 1 or 2 runs if you can. Okay. You okay with that? Is that tolerable?
Can I sit back yet?
Yeah, lay back. Now we're in there. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
That's
Well
a
done.
relief. It's really like a relief.
Okay, we'll give it a go now, Kate. I'm going to have a picture of evidence of active denervation there, but
That I can.
you okay with that? It's not fasciculating per se because there's probably not much there to.
Well, that's very true. But when it goes,
It'll go a bit stark.
oh yeah.
There'll be some there. Probably, what you'll probably find is again, we talk about the recording needle. The area I'm looking at doesn't have anything. However, if I was to move it around a bit,
Yeah.
which I'm not going to do.
So when we're looking at this strip through here, is the muscle that we're interested in.
So that area below.
So here we'll be looking more into the abdomen, and this again is the kind of skin and subcutaneous fatty tissue.
Right, and that's why I made sure I didn't go any further than the muscles here.
Yeah.